idea of aid began in the ashes of war, poverty, and it began years back after the post-World War II, where the leaders of the world came together and agreed that we are going to end this, but we need to support each other in order to rebuild. The European people began the idea of aid with the notion of declaring that other nations that were affected as a result of the World War II should be supported. Places that were destroyed should be rebuilt for the sake of humanity. Those that don't have food should have food. Those that don't have shelter should have a shelter. But along the line, there was a shift. And the shift happened in 1979 when then the former president of the United States of America changed the declaration and made it to become an interest-based aid support. How many of you heard about the US aid, the UK aid, European Union intervention, then coming back to our dear country where we have faced so many challenges? Aid is supposed to support you for that moment so that you can step up to go to a better life and restore back your dignity. It's not about caging you or giving you a rescue that you should continue to remain in that bondage. However, international policy came up, declaration came up, the Geneva Declaration and adoption of the Declaration of the International Humanitarian Laws came up. Other support, nation sovereignty adopt their own basic principle to govern how they should support other nations. But I'm bringing you closer to see what is the problem and what are we doing about the problem today to the people we serve and the people that deserve our help. There's difference between assistance and aid. Aid has an objective. Just like the way you will wake up and send me a message that you need an urgent 2K to assist you to get out of that very serious issue that you are passing through. If I am a diplomat, I will define it as aid. And I will write it in the book of my support to say, on so date, I have given an aid to this person when he's passing through this issue. That's the difference between assistance and aid. But I'm bringing you closer to something so that you will understand what is happening. We are today in the world that is called singularity. In case you don't know, that is what we are today, singularity. And what singularity means, for those who are working in the humanitarian and developmental sector, they have experienced a shocking wave last year and last 2 years by the US government, where they changed the perspective of their intervention from aid to interest-based singularity intervention. It means we are giving you aid, but we have to get something in return. That is the real definition. And without getting anything in return, you don't deserve our aid. It's either you adhere to our principle, to our policies, or anything that will benefit us, then we give you aid. Now it has become transactional. And it took us back to the era of pre-World War II, where trade by barter, exchange for commodities was going on, where there was no currency, and where the colonialism was high, and imperialism began to come in, where you and I, we don't know the resources we have in our country, but they will come and tell us the benefit and the importance of the resources. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, when someone gives you aid with the objective of supporting you for the moment you are, you should have a clear and clarity towards what it intends to do to you. You will not be in need of food for me to come and give you a shelter. Maybe you have a shelter. You may not be in need of shelter, then I provide to you flour. You don't need it. All you need is shelter. So what are the objectives of aid to you? Now coming back to our country, Nigeria, where we have so many issues that have been disturbing us for more than 2 decades. The insecurity, the poverty level, The last time I checked, when we are talking about sustaining it, if the foreign aid comes to our country, beautiful programs designed, implemented, see success story, the impact threshold has been defined, but when it comes to issue of sustainability, it has always been a difficulty. Do you know why? Because sustainability can only thrive in a very good system. Where there is no system, you can only see the sustainability in theory. But to take it to the right way to get it done is going to be very difficult. We don't have a system that will drive the sustainability of the project model the NGOs or any developmental partners that define. That is why at the end of any aid support or project-based intervention that comes in form of aid, it's difficult to sustain it as a result of lack of systems. When I say system, I will take you back. The last time we conducted census in Nigeria was when? 2006. And today we are in 20, how many years? They're coming to you. Any budget that has been passed in a country that is developed, that wants a very good impact and alleviate the situation of the people, must define against its population. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to tell you, we will continue to receive aid, support our people, but the sustainability part is not well defined. In as much as we want the sustainability, you and I have a role to play. Define a system. A traffic light you don't respect. A common laws that you said, don't go this, you will go right. And you are expecting a system to work. The aid you can give to the government is not about money. It's not also about the shelter you will provide as an individual. You have what someone doesn't have, conscience. You have what someone doesn't have, good sense. If he's coming to the right, go to the left. We must build a system that will sustain us. Protecting our infrastructural development is part of the sustainability we are talking about if our other counterpart or another sovereignty nation support us with aid. I'm coming back to that. Let me tell you something that will help you when you go out. Every nation wants something from another nation. Nigeria is blessed with a lot of natural resources. This is where it's coming, and I will tell you today, when you check the singularity policy that has been defined, the first person that declared the singularity policy is Elon Musk. And believe me or not, we are in it. You don't have anything to offer. You must align in the three matrix of the singularity. One, you must viably produce something that will change the nation, the world, not only your country. Number two, you must also be part of those that will contribute to sustaining the singularity manifest. That means technology, entertainment, and design. They want to catch it. That is why I want you to know, if you are today sitting here, you don't know the meaning of the text and the X here, I want to tell you we are in it. People saw it far, and it comes as a result of aid. The topic being discussed is to support humanity to grow by giving aid. Donors contributed for this activity, and they will go and write it as part of their social corporate responsibility, and it will reflect in their overall intervention. But mind you, what are their objectives? Some of them presented their businesses here for us to buy. That's aid. Platform, what you have to offer, then I will give you this. I want us to understand the IDPs, the refugees that we have, and the support they are given is being defined today in the category of what I will explain in few minutes before I sit down, called conflictpreneurs. The intention from the beginning, I said, as is being declared post-World War II, is to support other nations to build their shattered economy. That was the concept of aid. However, as a result of oligarchs, it has turned to become an oligopoly category of business, whereby multiple international organizations registered, where they are doing what is called rent seeking. They are not creating new policy. However, they are lobbying so that that existing policy, the 8th declaration, will favor them so that they will continue with their other businesses. Example, we all agreed during the COVID-19 it has been said there's a stock of vaccine that want to enter the market. A lot of theories came out, but we all believe at the end of the day it was a business. But we received aid upon aid that we used to buy the drugs, or that we used to buy those vaccines to come into our country. Why I'm saying this is simple. If Nigerian government want to change its citizens or the less privileged and underserved to start building from just being beneficiaries, they should build a system. You and I have a role in building the system, and I am igniting you today. Go and start thinking towards building a system that can contain everybody, not you. Before I sit down, I want to tell you this. In 2016, we are all aware about the rampant number of internally displaced persons in Nigeria, which is almost 3.7 million, the highest in West Africa. A nation came to Nigerian government, said, we're going to help you because it's high, to give you some money to build shelter, to build infrastructure, food support, and otherwise to these internally displaced persons. However, we don't have any reliable ministry that we will be communicating with. Immediately through executive order, the President of Nigeria, on the 21st of August 2016, he declared and created a ministry that is called Ministry of Humanitarian and Disaster Management. A money has been pumped up, co-funded by Nigerian government, but yet still, in 6 months, the population of, or the statistic of the internally displaced persons has increased with about 37%. Lack of infrastructure and lack of system put in place to sustain and manage resources according to the way it should be, it has affected us. You may be sitting accusing some NGOs that are doing implementation in the field. But today I want you to understand what they have done is based on data. There's value for money, and there's also objective of the implementation. When they left, if there's no sustainability, those people psychologically, they have become dependent, regardless of how the project has been designed successfully. They will return back to the default, how they used to be. Only a few at some point scale through to start. What do? Let's go back to the root. Build a system. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a believer that we are more than 300 million people in this country, but because we are working for decades on assumption, we still stick to the 250 million people, which today we have 63.11 trillion naira budget that is active in Nigeria. Yet, there's no system in place to cater for the most pressing need that will affect the human lives, the children, the women, the small and medium enterprise, creating jobs so that we will not become a dependent nation, but we can also be part of those that will now rise to start sending relief and support to other nations, just like the way we receive from other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, for us to get it right, if you are here thinking you want to do any support intervention, just like the way every day I woke up, I see 10 messages with urgent 2K and 5K. I want you to know this. You must define the objective. A money that is meant for food and shelter will not be used for health infrastructure. A money that is meant for school fees, it shouldn't be used for organizing a barbecue for a success of an exam. It should be channeled to the right and appropriate objective that has been defined. I will say this. 9 years working in development and humanitarian organization. Quite a lot of things happening outside because of lack of awareness. People must understand how the system works. People must understand why this thing is being carried out and why these people are coming. 3 days ago, the German government, through counterfunding, they have provided 371 million euro to support 3 categories: agriculture, skills development, and women empowerment through categories with Nigerian government to co-fund it. The president of your country and my president published this on his wall. But will you act of it? Or will you be those amongst that doesn't understand accountability? You receive National Microfinance Bank loan, you think is a grant because you don't understand between aid assistance and grant, and now they put a default recurring debit on your account. You are escaping it by using the fintech so that you can do your transaction. Do you have a moral right and justification to come and start questioning well-defined, structured, and principled intervention for sustainability? Mind shift needs to come in, and we must challenge ourselves, because you yourself, you are a donor. Myself, I'm a donor. I want to go down with this. How many of you ever send urgent 2K? How many of you ever receive urgent 2K? Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I will come to conclusion that will you continue to sustain to give that the same beneficiary urgent 2K for 1 year? Will you teach him to start earning so that he will also give someone 2K? With this, I have defined to you assistance, aid, come with objective. And when you continue to do to him, please, 3 times, 4 times, call him to tell him, can you sweep my house? That's an exchange for a labor beyond that aid, and it's called sustainability, and you are creating wealth for him.